Okay, for 8.2 part 4, we're going to do the next two application word problems. These are both SSS cases, and they are navigation problems with bearings. So remember, bearings have to do with north, south, east, and west. Remember, bearings are, it would be like north 40 degrees east. And that would be if you're saying that we're going northeast 40 degrees, okay? Now, so I've drawn the picture that's in your book. I've done my best. So a ship travels 60 miles due east and then adjusts its course as shown above. I showed it above. Blah, 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 blah. Describe the bearing from point B to point C. So since we want from point B to point C, we're going to want to find the angle of B. And since we have a case SSS, we're going to want to use law of cosines. Not just because we're in the law of cosine section, but because for cases SSS, that's what we have to use. So cosine B is equal to a squared plus c squared minus b squared over 2ac. That's equal to 80 squared plus 60 squared minus 139 squared over 2 times 80 times 60. And that gives us about negative 0.97094. So to find angle B, we need to take the inverse cosine of that decimal. And that will give us that B is 166.15 degrees. Now, think about it. Our north, south, east, west line. We need our bearing. So what we're going to want to do to get our actual bearing from B to C, since we have to account for that north-south line, because it's measured from due north, we need to subtract 90 degrees from that to get our bearing. So once we subtract 90 degrees, we get 76.15 degrees. So our actual bearing is north 76.15 degrees east. And it's northeast because, see how we're going from B to C? We're going up and to the right. So the try problem is set up in a really similar way. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find cosine B first. So a squared would be 30 squared plus 40 squared minus 56 squared all over 2 times 30 times 40. That will give us about negative 0.265. To get B, we want to take the inverse cosine of that, which will give us 105.37 degrees. Subtract 90 degrees, and we get north 15.37 degrees east. which makes sense because if you see, we didn't really adjust our course as drastically as we did in the example above. And I'm just going to make that video another short one and just do one more short one to end the section.